On the next Common Side Effects.
I need to get out of here.
Oh, we all do, man.
I'm in here for a crime you did. Talk to your lawyer. Say you did this so I can get out of here.
What's in it for me?
I'm onto a discovery that could heal the whole world, but it's not going to work if I'm stuck in here.
Hey, man, a guy like you ain't gonna make it. You're too fucking weird. Okay, good luck.
Common Side Effects. New episode next Sunday at 11:30 on Adult Swim. Next day on Max.
Hello everyone, welcome to Toonami Therapy. Today on February 19th of 2025, I'm Michael.
Yeah, hello, I'm Tommy.
And this is our podcast where we talk about Toonami and anime and other things. So, well, there's no special Toonami news other than, the schedule change we're getting next week, where instead of getting a new series, replace Mashle, we're just getting a second episode of Blue Exorcist. Also, I want to just to mention something. So last episode, although you were mentioning about how there's that anime, The Two Perfect Saint, tossed aside by my fiance and sold to another kingdom. And I was thinking, did I read the manga of that? I only read one chapter. So I looked it up. I apologize. What I actually read was not The Two Perfect Saint, tossed aside by my fiance and sold to another kingdom. What I read was The Banished Saint's Pilgrimage from Dying to Thriving. Obviously, completely different series. I only read one chapter, but I can't say if it's good or not. It didn't keep my interest enough for more, is all I'll say. Okay, back to Mashle. All right, so basically, Mash manages to show up, and Mash shows up, manages to basically save the day, and also beats the guy who has the super magic reflection thing by not using magic. Everyone then kind of realizes, he can't use magic, which means he might be in trouble with everyone finding it out. And that's their cliffhanger, although it's obviously diffused somewhat by Mash deciding to just use just to eat some cream puffs. And if you want to know how this is continued, well, we're not going to find out on Toonami next week because, again, they're not showing more of it, so at least for now. So, we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's just my part.
Oh, well, I mean, I can talk. Usually, you talk after I give the synopsis. I can talk first about my thoughts if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I thought this was a pretty solid episode. There's some pretty funny jokes here. Even the action was kind of good. So, just a pretty fun episode. There's my problem, I should have thought of writing down especially good jokes and stuff in the series, but this one did definitely have some good stuff, especially at the start. That's the thing. The episode starts out really goofy, and then it just kind of gets more serious, and then it goes back to being goofy again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good episode. I was impressed by the direction Mashle went in the second half of the first season. I felt like it really started to click about halfway through, and it really grew on me. So, I feel like I really wanted to see more of this, and unfortunately we aren't going to get that chance for now. But yeah. That was a pretty good episode and a pretty good end to the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess that's all I have to say about that one then. But in terms of the series as a whole, yeah, pretty solid series. I think the manga is better. I think the anime captures a bunch of the manga, but I feel like it kind of, some stuff, it feels like sometimes it kind of forgets it's primarily a comedy, which to be fair is a problem the manga can occasionally do, but it felt like it just didn't play stuff for as much humor as the manga did. But it still did enough. It's a decent adaptation. I do think it's kind of funny that the first season didn't really get that much attention, I don't think. And then the second season, like, manga sales, at least in Japan, just shot up because the theme song went super viral. like it was like a number one hit or something for a bunch of weeks in Japan, if I remember looking it up correctly. So yeah, but we won't get that until next season, I guess. All right. So after that, we got Blue Exorcist, episode 13. All right. So what's her name? Shura, I think was her name.
Shura. Yeah.
Yeah. The girl who's got the forced fan service outfit. Right. So she's there, and she's like, and she is actually like some, I think, stronger exorcist, but she was pretending to be one of their classmates because to try to investigate Reen. Then they basically do a bunch of let's see. Then they do a bunch of like fighting, and then but everything gets as some sort of test, but then it all gets resolved and everything is all great, and yeah. Oh, and she's like their teacher now, I think, also.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a very interesting way of interrogation that she used. I couldn't figure out, like, the whole time I thought, okay, this is just a test. This is just a test. But she kind of did seem like she wanted to beat him, so destroy him, maybe. I don't know. Obviously, that didn't happen. So, yeah, I remember liking her character a bunch, but maybe it was just because she reminded me so much of Yoruichi that I confused the two characters in my mind. So, yeah, this was pretty good. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say beyond that.
Yeah, unfortunately, neither do I. It was just kind of an episode of, okay, here's a new character, here's some stuff about them, and here's some fighting test stuff, and the main character proves himself again. How many times has this happened, actually? Like, where Reen's, the person's like, I don't trust you. A bunch of stuff happens. I trust you now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, episode 704 of One Piece. So, here basically, wait, I think I got this, wrong. Sorry, it's episode no, I had it right the first time. Sorry. Episode 704. Okay, yes, that's it. All right, so we have a little more fighting in the present, and then we go back to the flashback. Now, you might be wondering, that's weird. Why did we just switch back to the present at the start, and then only for nothing important to really happen in it, and then go back to the flashback? Well, my dear listener, I looked at the manga. That return to the present was complete anime filler. Anyway, so back in the flashback, what is going on is that, right, Corazon man decides to, we need, or I guess maybe it's possible it was that was in the manga, but it at least did not happen in the manga at this point. For all I know, they just transposed something. Maybe I should be a little fair. Maybe that's a possibility, but it probably was just filler. Anyway, back into the past. Corazone's still trying to get the cure for Law. Doflamingo does contact him and says, "Hey, we've got the lead on the op fruit. If you get it, then you can eat it and cure Law and do other great stuff." Although we also find out Doflamingo is pretty skeptical of Corazone's motivation because the Navy stopped harassing Doflamingo after Corazon left. Of course, Corazon can't eat the thing because you can only have one devil fruit, so the plan of him is to get the thing and give it to Law and, get away from Doflamingo. The whole thing is basically this plan in which the pirates are planning to sell. Let's see if I got the whole setup right. Some pirates got the fruit and they were going to sell it to the Navy for more money, I think, than Goldie Rogers' bounty was. Or at least it was something around that period time number. I can't remember, but really a high amount. So Doflamingo was planning to steal all it from there, so he would get it. But then Corazone's plan is to preempt all of them to get it, and then use it to help Law. Okay, so Corazon manages to get there and steal the fruit, but then gets attacked and apparently beaten up pretty bad. So what will happen? I don't know. I guess it's pretty clear that Corazon's going to fail and Law is going to die. So yeah, I'm not sure how we're seeing him finding the present, but maybe it's like a time paradox. We'll finish the flashback and he'll die, and then Law will just vanish from the present. Which actually that reminds me, there's this game, Space Quest 5, I think it was. And there's this part where, because in a previous game you got saved from something by your future son, and if you accidentally through this thing have the person who's gonna be his mother die, then the game over is you just get erased from existence because your son was never born to save you in the previous game. Well, I guess you don't get erased, you just previously died, and that was all. So yeah, so jokes aside, the episode was okay, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't bad. I found it funny that you looked that up midway through the episode. Like, yep, that didn't happen. But and yeah, it was padded quite a bit too. But overall, I thought it was for what we've been getting, it wasn't that bad. It honestly was better than most episodes have been lately. But yeah, I'm not a big flashback guy, so yeah,
you're going to hate what happens in some later episodes then. Yeah, I am wondering about what's going to happen when we I'm just thinking, what was his name? Odin, I think. Odin's flashback, and I'm thinking, that lasted a while in the manga. I can't imagine what it will be like in the anime at a point where they're probably even doing more padding than it is right now. Okay. But yeah, you're right. Honestly, now that I stop and think about it, this actually probably was the best episode of One Piece in a while.
Yeah.
It just makes you stop and think, man, if this was just reasonably paced, how much better would this be?
Yeah.
All right. And there we go. That's One Piece, episode 704, and that's it for our Toonami series for this episode of our podcast. All right. Anything else to say before moving on?
Yeah. I'm just really disappointed that Adult Swim, Cartoon Network, whatever company owns them. I'm just disappointed that they've abandoned the anime fans and just kind of let their Toonami block just go to rot. And like, okay, we're going to bring back something that aired a few years ago that wasn't very highly accepted, but we're just going to give it to you anyway because we have nothing better to give you. So, yeah, I feel like they're gypping us, but I don't think there's anything we can do about it.
Honestly, if I could pick them, I think I might prefer 2 episodes of One Piece over Blue Exorcist, because while I think Blue Exorcist is probably a bit better, One Piece's pacing is so bad that it's just better to have 2 episodes.
Exactly, I agree. Now, the only reason I would like what they're doing is if they're going to give us season 2 of Blue Exorcist, because that has never aired on Toonami. So if they give us season 2, I will be happy. But given that they didn't give us season 2 of Mashle, I'm highly doubtful that they're going to also give us season 2 of Blue Exorcist. So, yeah, I'm not very optimistic about it, but
yeah, but there's been enough times where it seemed like there was absolutely nothing, and then they'd announce something, and then we'd be like, oh, okay, and actually about half the time they do bring something new. It's something that we're not like super interested in, but you get some stuff. You get your Mashle, for example. There's some good stuff there. So yeah, I guess we'll just see, but yeah, the Toonami portion of this podcast may end up being kind of short going forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we move on. Yu Yu Hakusho episode 42. So, since Kuwabara is not in great shape already from his injuries, he basically gets beaten up a bunch for most of the episode. Although we do find out it is mentioned that he isn't doing it just to get beaten up as part of some ploy to basically to do that thing Yusuke did before where he just uses his own life force instead of spirit energy to be able to beat the guy, which would essentially kill him, but it would give his team the win and let them keep going. But then Yukina and the other girls manage to make it in, and he sees her, and well, he doesn't exactly scream his way into a power-up. It's more like he shouts his way into a power-up. But he gets his power-up and manages to beat the opponent. And then our heroes advance to the next round, and the guy who was basically rigging everything against him gets killed by Toguro.
He got killed.
Yeah, you remember that part where Toguro just like afflicts his finger on his head and is so strong it makes the guy's like head crack in two.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that killed him. I just was thinking, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was something I'm pretty sure they did not have on the original Toonami thing. And we at least I honestly, some of the stuff on this series I've been kind of wondering if there's some way to go back and see what it was like on Toonami, because I'm kind of curious what was edited stuff. Like obviously I assume like some of the language was toned down, but
yeah,
and like some of the like more risque jokes and stuff. But yeah, I'm sure if I'm going to guess, they probably just they probably just had like Toguro like about to hit him, and then it just cut past that point, and they talked about how the guy died, so you didn't actually see the moment, but saw something like that. Anyway, so yeah, that was that was our episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought this was pretty good again, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. The power of love, of course, caused the victory, which
Mhm.
is always funny. Yeah, I like the episode. I've been a fan of how Yu Yu Hakusho has been going lately. It's been more interesting. It's been funnier. It's been just better. So yeah, I'm happy where it's going right now.
Yeah, this episode I feel like I kind of liked in concept, and there's some parts I like about it. My problem is I think there's just the stuff where Kuwabara just keeps getting beaten up. I thought that kind of dragged on a bit long. I would have preferred if that had been shortened a bit, because I was just kind of starting to think, okay, he gets knocked down, then he gets up again, he gets knocked down, he gets up again, he gets knocked down, he gets up again. You're never going to keep him down. So, but it just keeps doing that for so long. Okay. Yep. So we got all that. All right, we move on to Shangri-La Frontier, episode 36. All right, so SLF Zoo, that clan, decides to try to fight Lycagon and seems to actually have a pretty decent plan for it. But then there's a second Lycagon who shows up, and basically they all die. It's actually kind of funny because it's just a game, but I did like. Well, let me just get to the end quick. So after
Right.
they're all gone, Sunraku and Rei are basically left and decide, well, I guess we'll fight Lycagon. The fact that the episode title is Embrace the Lamplight of Ambition Part 1 indicates to me, oh, okay, they're just not, this is going to be like an actual fight. It won't just be them, well, we fight, oh, I guess we lost. So, yeah, we get that. Anyway, to go back to so we're about to fight him again. So I was just going to mention the part where I can't remember, Anomalia, that's her name. She's a leader of the Zoo Guild. There's the part where after she basically just gets cut in half. There's we do this the thing where it's not kind of a flashback where she just thinks about how she likes the game because she's allergic to animals in real life. And I was just kind of thinking, this is almost playing it exactly like you would if a character, the thing we joke about, oh, a character dies, here's their flashback about their life. And I'm thinking, oh, it's kind of like that, except, they're not actually dying. It's just a game. And, instead of the big thing that talks about all the serious stuff in their life, it's just oh, yeah, well, here's why I like animals in the game. So I don't know if that was if that was meant as a sort of joke on the whole death by flashback thing, but I thought it was, but if it was, I thought that was a kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my turn. Okay, yeah. I wasn't a big fan of this episode. My problem is that I like those two characters, Pentagon and the boy/girl who Sunraku did everything with. I like those characters, and I was hoping to see more of them this season. And, well, we're not seeing them. So I feel like we wasted all that character development, build-up time with them. And unfortunately, they haven't made much of an appearance, so we got all this other stuff. Now, I do like the armored character, and I've liked her interactions, but again, there wasn't as much of the romantic humor in this episode than there was in the previous one. So, yeah, I was just a little disappointed by this episode.
Okay. Yeah, it was okay, I guess. I don't know if necessarily. I don't know. I guess we'll see how this fight ends up going. Whether this is actually we're just kind of abruptly cutting into, this is going to be the fight against Lycagon, or whether this is just another sort of like temporary thing or something like that. So I guess we'll see there. So yeah, let me just check some thing. Just try. I do wonder if we will see the other characters again soon. Okay. Did I have anything else to say? All right. So after that, we've got Blue Lock episodes 32 and 33. All right. So basically, the main characters. Let's see, if I remember correctly, previously we left off with the game tied. Then the main characters the Blue Lock team manages to score another goal. And that's the situation as of halftime. So they're 2-1, which is like maybe the first time in a sports anime series I think I've seen the main characters actually ahead in score. But yeah, so that's the situation. The other team decides, well, I guess we gotta, that guy with the sort of like rowdy guy who didn't get along with people, who was going to be on our team, but we didn't because he was too hard to get along with. Well, I guess we'll use him now, because it would seem weird to, you set that up and not have anything come to it. Then we get a flashback about Rin and Sai, and why they're kind of on bad terms, and it's because Sai was going. That was his name, right? I'm not messing things up. Okay, Sai. He was going to be the best striker, and so he goes to play soccer in another place, and he comes back and talks to Rin. It's like, I think I'm going to be the best midfielder instead. You should be the best striker. And then Rin gets upset about this for some reason, and apparently that makes him be on bad terms now. Although isn't Sai playing a striker again in this game? So what was with that? I don't know. That was, maybe we'll get a more full details on that later on. But for now, I'm thinking, you were upset because you decided to change positions. Okay. Mm-hmm. And yeah, then we've got that, and then basically with the other team getting the other guy, they're gonna go up again to the second half. Now.
Yeah.
I these were okay. Yeah, I like, not like amazing, but I thought they were enjoyable.
Yeah, I liked the first of the two episodes. I thought that was interesting that they actually took the lead, but then they celebrated way too much. I'm like, there's impending doom coming. It's like you just can see an avalanche of goals coming in the second half for the opposing team. That's the way it felt. It was like something bad is going to happen now. They're too excited over being up at halftime. Like you never see that in a real soccer game. A team get excited because they're winning at halftime. But second episode, did not care for at all. In fact, it reinforced my feelings about how unrealistic this is, because midfielders are very important players, and while they don't score as many goals as the strikers do, they are still very important. So for this entire fight to be because, well, he wanted to be a midfielder of that's just ridiculous. And it kind of reinforces my opinion of how unrealistic this show is, because of its obsession with strikers and the fact that not everyone can be a striker, just like not everyone can be a quarterback, and usually whenever someone who plays both positions and wants to be a quarterback, well, he ends up failing at it because he would be better off playing a different position, and he's too arrogant to accept a different position because he wants to be a quarterback so bad. So, yeah, I don't like the way this series is so obsessed with the striker thing whenever that just isn't realistic. So sorry about that.
I don't know if I'd say. I mean, there's plenty of things unrealistic about this series. This is a series that's got like holographic goalies, and I'm like, I feel like that technology could be used for so many amazing things. But beyond that, well, it's hard for me to know without seeing how it plays out. But I kind of thought maybe this was like more of him because Rin was still kind of young when he gets all upset. And I'm like, okay, I can see it. You think your brother's great and that he'll be the best striker, but no, he wants to be something else. I guess I can kind of see at that being true for him, but I'm thinking, okay, but you're also kind of young. You're older now. Have you not gotten past this? Because that seemed kind of dumb. By the way, there's something I meant to ask about, because as is always the case, you know way more about this sport than I do. And I was trying to figure out, when it comes to soccer, like teams, do like strikers get sort of more attention than the other positions, sort of in the way that in football, like obviously the other positions are really important, but all like a disproportionate amount of attention, like even of like, the audience and the media and stuff always goes to whoever is the quarterback. Are strikers like that in soccer?
Yeah, because they score most of the goals. So you're usually going to have a striker as your top scorer. So since they score most of the goals, they're the guys most people pay attention to. So there's definitely more to there's more glory for being a striker than there is being other positions. So
okay,
yeah,
all right. That's kind of what I was thinking. So yeah, still, I just got to say, I'm really it's just so interesting. Oh, the main characters are ahead midway through in a sport, because like that's what you don't want. Like like the last football Super Bowl we had, we're like midway through and the Eagles are way ahead, and people are are kind of losing interest. And I'm thinking, if this was an anime, then I would like bet all my money on the losing team. Okay. So yeah, when I came into the podcast, the episode kind of blurred together for me, but now like thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, that second episode was definitely weaker than the first.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that's it for our anime stuff. Our like synopses of them, I guess. So I guess we can give our picks for what we thought was best in the Toonami and the non-Toonami series. For me, the Toonami would have to be Mashle, but the non-Toonami, that's tricky because I think Blue Lock's first episode was the best out of all of them, but its second episode was the worst out of all of them. So I guess I'll just sort of split the difference and give it to Blue Lock.
Okay, so yeah, Mashle, obviously, and we're gonna miss Mashle a lot once we're down to just reruns and padding.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually had to give it to Yu Yu Hakusho for the second straight week. It's really improved lately. I mean, I'm still sitting here wondering, like, why are they doing this tournament anyway? But because I'm like, why are you throwing your lives out there over this tournament? Like, can't you just go home? But yeah, I I think Yu Yu Hakusho was the best of the week. Although, if Blue Lock's second episode had been even average, I might have given it the Blue Lock. So Blue Lock's second episode was just so boring.
Yeah. One. I'm trying. That's when I'm trying to remember. I know they're going to the tournament because they were kind of forced into it, but I'm trying to remember, how were they forced again? Was Toguro just saying, "Yeah, well, I'm just gonna kill you all if you don't go to the tournament"? Was that basically it, or was there actually something else to it? So I can't remember exactly what forced them, but I know they did it because they had to, not so much because they wanted to. Okay. And I guess that's all the stuff we have to say regarding anime. So if you're just, well, actually, any last things to say about anime or manga before we move on?
Well, I continue with Bleach, and we're getting up close to the part where I started the blog. So it's going to be interesting to see if what I felt back when I watched it for the first time is anywhere similar to what I'm watching it over 15 years later. Yeah, so yeah, I keep on watching that, and I wasn't able to watch anything else this week, so that's all I've got.
Okay. All right, so that's it for that. We're going to move on to our Star Trek watch through. So yeah, we got Star Trek: The Next Generation, episode 17, When the Bow Breaks.
Yeah, so basically, they come up to this planet with these people who have crazy powers, and they can't have children, so they decide they're going to steal all the children, not all the children, just a few children off the Enterprise. And Wesley's one of them, of course. And then Dr. Crusher realizes, well, they've got an ozone hole, which, boy, that seems like something that might have happened back in the late 80s, where there's a panic over the ozone hole. And so because of that, they're having radiation and they can't have children. So it doesn't matter, even if they do steal their children, they're not going to be able to the children are not going to be able to have children. So Picard has to negotiate for a while with them. Finally, they come up with that solution. They destroy their power source for their computer. They do that. They fix everything. Everyone's happy. Children get to go home. And we get a nice story about the ozone hole, because remember, that was the last thing that was going to kill us. Now the asteroid is the new thing that's going to kill us. And that's coming up here in 7 years. So get ready for that, because there's always some sort of impending doom. And in the 80s, I can remember the late, maybe early 90s, where the ozone layer was the thing that was in all the TV shows that tried to warn everyone, and I was like, okay, yeah, this episode makes a lot of sense given that panic of the time. So, yeah, um, as an episode overall, I can't say I wasn't interested in it. I have to admit that I actually cared about this episode and I was interested in it. So, I hate to say it, but it kind of is going to get a positive review from me. I don't mean to be so nice, but I actually kind of enjoyed it. So I don't know what you thought.
I thought it was pretty boring. Like, not terrible. There wasn't anything like, like offensive or that angered me. It's just I was bored through so much of it. It's just okay. So they get the kids. Well, first of all, that doesn't really make that much sense because they're like, okay, we are having problems. We aren't having kids. We need to have kids. So let's just grab 7 kids off the Enterprise that will completely solve our population problems. So that was kind of weird. Actually, here's like the really weird thing though. So they're saying, well, we need children and we will negotiate. And then like Picard's like, no, humans will not give up their children. Maybe other races, but humans are unusually attached to their offspring. Thinking, okay, here's the thing. Like, I know like the Federation is supposed to be like some sort of like utopia, blah, blah, all that stuff. I'm sure there must still be some sort of adoption system there. Couldn't you like arrange something for that? Even there, it feels like there has to be some thing there. So I can't. It's just weird that they just dismiss it rather than thinking. I mean, and the Federation's friggin' gigantic. There's got to be like kids in various places that you could like bring there and stuff if that's the issue. So I don't know. That just all felt very. That just kind of felt a bit weird to me. The other so yeah, there's all of that. And the other thing is, actually, that's a question. So why exactly do they need kids? Like, the goal is, okay, we're going to have some people, we're dying out, we need people to, like, replace us. Well, you could get adults for that. And even if you are thinking, okay, we want to have young kids because we can raise them in our ways and stuff, then why did you grab Wesley when he's too old for that?
Yeah.
That whole thing just didn't really make all that much sense as a whole. And yeah, the whole ozone layer stuff, that was very much of that time period. You don't hear that much about that now. I don't know the scientific know-how, so I don't know if it's because that ended up being a bust or if they actually fixed it, and that's why we don't hear anything about it. So I don't know, but it definitely does make it feel kind of dated. That they pull it so explicitly. They can't like, just say, oh, it's something that's obviously an analog. And is analog the right word? I know analogy works, but is analog like, does that actually work?
No, that doesn't work. No.
Okay. Yeah, that's oh no, analog can be a noun, a person or thing seen as comparable to another. So I guess it kind of works, but analogy is a better term. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, we get all of that, and one more thing I wanted to mention. I did not notice. I'll notice this just because I saw someone mentioning like a review of this. So when they're like, giving the kidnapped kids, like to the, families and stuff, one of them is like, oh, I want this one. Oh, well, she's supposed to go to them. She goes, no, I want this one. And, it's like the big commercial cliffhanger. It plays like some suspenseful music and it is never mentioned again. You'd think with that it's going, oh, they're going to get possessive over the kids or something. I'm like, nope, just forgotten about. Like, it legitimately like makes it feel like, was the scene cut or something? Were they rewriting this episode on the fly while they were filming it, and then in the rewrite, like the payoff was cut? What was with that?
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't think I have too much else to say about it, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, is that all you had to say about it also?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Then, should we give like our do you want to give scores for it, or?
Yeah, I give it a 6 out of 10.
I think I'd give it a 5.
My best girl. I have my best girl of the week. That's Keiko.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah, I had to add that in there.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you forgot to mention that. Just to be clear, we're talking about the anime stuff, because
anime.
I can't remember. What was O'Brien's wife's name? Was it Keiko?
Yeah,
I think it was.
Yeah, it was Keiko. Yeah, I didn't mean that Keiko. I meant Keiko from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, I looked it up. Her name was Keiko in Star Trek. Okay. And all right, I guess that's it. So for next week, we'll have I can't say it's the same lineup because things are changing. We'll go back to one episode of Blue Lock. So we got one episode of Yu Yu Hakusho, Shangri-La Frontier, and Blue Lock. One episode of The Next Generation, episode 18, which is, I think it's Home Soil, not 100% sure. But it's the one after this episode. And then we'll have less anime, fewer separate anime to discuss on Toonami.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that's it. So without further ado, I guess we'll say goodbye, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Kyo was just an ordinary genius.
XY squared to the 6th.
That's correct.
Till his father sent him a mysterious birthday present. Now this little boy, Zatch, might be just the friend Kyo needs. If all the Mamotos don't destroy them both.
I knew this was a bad idea!
Zatch Bell premieres Saturday, March 5th at 9:30. Open up and say, only Toonami.